Hi there, it's Lorraine from the Methodist Church again, back for a little bit more keeping mentally healthy, and we're continuing to talk about being unique. Now, I've talked for some time about this, and I'm really hoping now that you are starting to get that appreciation for yourself, and I hope you've got some value for yourself now, that you feel like, yeah, do you know what? I'm a good person. You know what? Not perfect, is anybody? But I'm a good person and I've got this amazing set of gifts and qualities and quirky personality and likes and dislikes and ways of learning and ways of doing things. And all of that makes up this amazing person that I am. And I hope you're really getting a sense of that and an appreciation. And if you can go away with that little bit more confidence, then I'll think my job's done. So now I want you to take that away, of course, but with that also comes the appreciation that other people are, well, not exactly the same, but the same in that they are also unique with quirky personalities and different likes and different tastes and different ways of doing things, but they are also unbelievably valuable and worthy of respect. Now, that can be really tricky sometimes. It can be great. And it's easy when you might agree with some people or you've got the similar sort of likes and dislikes. It's really great to go, yeah, you're a different person from me, but yeah, really worthy of respect and really value you. It's slightly harder, a lot harder, when people have very different ways of looking at the world and different opinions and even different likes or dislikes. Just imagine like supporting a different football team, or sometimes you hear about rival gangs or rival schools and things like that. Actually that can be really hard. So what I want to take us through today is a really important life skill, one that most of the adults that are in the world don't have either. It's how to disagree well. And it is a vastly underrated skill, but it's hugely important. When you think about all the things that are happening in the world, things like Black Lives Matter movement, the climate movement, and Greta Thunberg getting so frustrated with world leaders and things like that, it's because they feel they are not being heard. And it is incredibly important to make sure that people feel heard. When they are heard, they feel valued. And from there, you can then go on to work out your differences. So, of course, when people are so different, of course, there's going to be arguments and misunderstandings, but it's how to deal with that well. Okay, so let's imagine. Now, there's 4 steps. I've got my 4 steps here to learning to disagree well. So imagine you've had an argument in the playground or at home, or perhaps you really disagree with how to go forward on a project that your teacher set you or something like that. How do you disagree well? Okay, first step, you need to stop and pause and perhaps move away, get yourself a bit of space and breathe. Emotions might be running high and you might be really angry, you might be frustrated because they're not listening to what you're saying, and it might just be a really kind of heated situation. So the best thing to do is move away. Everybody needs a bit of space. Okay, then the second step is to remember that that other person has value and worth, same as you do. Their opinions and their thoughts and their feelings need to be heard as much as yours do. And that can be really difficult to think about, and to feel like you want to honour that when that you just think, oh, they're talking rubbish. It's hard to recognise that, but you still have to think, yes, but they are an individual with worth and value, and I must respect that. Okay, the next step can be quite hard. Listening. And listening is a vastly underrated skill, and it is a skill. And remember, I may have told you this before, but I'm going to tell you again. You've got 2 of these, 1 of these. Use them accordingly. Listen twice as much as you speak. Now, often, and this goes for adults as well, don't let me get you wrong, adults too often listen with an intent to reply and respond, when rather what you need to do is listen with the intention of understanding. Understand where that person's coming from. You still might not agree with it, and that's fine, but make sure that person has been heard and understood. Likewise, they need to make sure that you have been heard and understood too. Okay. Now then, the last one is respect. You may go through all of this, maybe listening very, very carefully to them, and they may be listening very carefully to you, but fundamentally you still disagree. So it might be that you have 2 completely different favourite football teams. That is fine. And you can be completely convinced that they are in the wrong. Likewise, they are going to be convinced that you're in the wrong. But that's okay. It's how you disagree well. It's almost at that point going, okay, let's agree to disagree. And that's fine. Now, what I would also say is be open to having your mind changed. That's how we grow. When we disagree with people about things, but then listen and understand, we may learn more, we may grow and go, oh gosh, I didn't appreciate that was where you were coming from. I didn't appreciate that was your experience of this thing we're talking about. Learn and grow. It's that back to that growth mindset. Okay, so that is quite tricky, but how to disagree well. Start doing those things and you'll be way ahead of most adults, let me tell you, including people like politicians and things. How to disagree well. Okay, now then, it makes all the difference being heard. Once you've been heard and listened to, you feel valued. So what we're going to do is have a bit of a practice at listening. And like I said, it's a really underrated skill. But to really, really be listened to, it is a really good feeling. So what we're going to do is you'll need to be in pairs. Now the first pair, choose, doesn't matter which way around you do it. One person is going to tell a bit of a story for 2 minutes, or share an experience, or share what their favourite pizza topping is, whatever it is, it really doesn't matter, for about 2 minutes. And the other person, their partner, will just listen for 2 minutes. Do not say a word. That person does not say a word. And you know what? This bit can be really hard, because you want to jump in and go, oh yeah, I know what you mean. Or it's really hard. So just zip it for 2 minutes while you listen to that other person. Okay, then after the 2 minutes, the person that's listening says back what they've heard and understood. So it might be, okay, I understand that this is your favourite football team, and the reason you like them is because they've trained really hard, or they've got this great footballer, or whatever it happens to be, to show that you've listened to that person. Okay, and then you swap over and do exactly the same thing. So I want you to get thinking about how it feels to be really listened to. It can be really quite powerful. You can also think about times in your life when someone has really listened to you and you felt you've been understood. It can be incredibly powerful. It's very important. So practice the skill yourself. Okay, so that's it from me for today. Get practicing and get listening. Okay, I'll speak to you soon. Take care.